Yo, what's good, Josh? Your boy J Suave. I'm the host of J Suave TV, and I'm proud to say after 10 plus years of the Power series being a thing, we have now finally been introduced to Breeze himself, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'm also glad to see that he is not unique, even though I already knew that. I'm so glad y'all can finally put this unique is Breeze think pieces to bed. Now listen, Tony, I love you, boy. I appreciate you supporting the channel as you have been, but I'll just ask that you put a little bit more respect on my name going forward when it comes to this power talk. I ain't Mark Dark and I'm not movie Bob, but I know power for a fact. I fuck with the characters and I fuck with the show. More importantly, I fuck with logic. Him changing his name to Breeze never made any sense, but it is what it is. We're here now. Now, originally, I wanted to get y'all the episode review before I got into what I'm getting into in this video. But I've been out of town, like I said in the last video. I feel like I need to rewatch this episode to give y'all a more concise recap of all the things that happened. So for now, I'm gonna focus on Breeze, the conversation he has with Kanan alongside Snaps and Pop. Go over how some of what Snaps said about Breeze in this episode contradicts what Kanan said about Breeze to Tariq in early Power. And mainly speak on why I believe Breeze is going to be the one to take out Unique early next season. Only got one season with the man, so it's not that much time to really flesh out his character. So I think he got to take out a big fish like Unique, but I'm going to get into all the reasons why in a little bit. Before I get into Yap, I know y'all already know what y'all got to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. And let's talk about Breeze in that introduction. As y'all can see, Breeze is being played by Shameik Moore, looking cool as hell. Boy pulled up in the red whip, looking clean in that fit. I don't know, that hat kind of throw me off a little bit, but for the time, I'm going to let him rock. Outside of everything going on with Shameik Moore when it comes to these shorties out here, Haley Steinfeld, y'all know the roster. He's a great actor in my opinion. I personally seen him play Miles Morales in the animated Spider-Man series based on the character. But he was also great in the role of Raekwon on the Wu-Tang and American Saga series. Had another banger and dope when it dropped back in the day. And he played a central part in one of Netflix's earliest Netflix originals in The Get Down. So it's really no doubt in my mind that he's going to have a great portrayal of the character of Breeze when season 5 comes around. I want to briefly touch on some of the things that Snaps said about his nephew in this episode. He described him to Kanan as somebody who came from East New York, who had his own organization out there. And he also refers to him as one of the brightest minds that Kanan will ever meet. Now, we know that this directly contradicts what Kanan told Tariq in the original Power about Breeze. He told Tariq that Breeze was strong but dumb. As I said in my Unique is Not Breeze video, you can take what Kanan told Tariq in early Power with a grain of salt. They had no idea they were going to do these Power spinoffs the way they're doing them right now. So we can't really call what he said back in the day as fact. But what I'll argue is if they intend to include the whole Breeze loves Jeopardy thing, him watching it at 7 o'clock each and every day, and him being predictable to kind of know where he's going to be at, in a sense, I can understand where Kanan was coming from, where he called Breeze dumb. He made himself an easy target for young goals to take out back in the day. I really think this is the only argument that Kanan could have regarding Breeze being dumb, because again, we gotta remember, this man is working alongside Kanan right now, and Snaps is saying what he's saying about him. Talking about he's a young genius, his brightest mind that Kanan's ever gonna meet. So we already know that Breeze is going to have a big influence on Kanan. And we already know that he was the boss of Ghost and Tommy from back in the day. We're probably gonna see that in Power Origins. All three of these men led their own organizations successfully at a point in time in their lives. We see Kanan building his empire right now. We know Tommy's doing his thing in Force. And I don't even gotta talk about James St. Patrick and his organization. So again, the dumb allegations, I think Breeze is gonna beat those in the next season. I think he's gonna work fast to prove everything that his uncle said to be factual. There's one more thing that Snaps mentioned in this scene where Breeze and Kanan are being introduced to each other. He says that he wants to bring Kanan, Unique, and Breeze together. Essentially make this big three in the Power universe. Now, if we're being honest, this would be pretty OD. I don't know how the hell the Thomas family would combat this. Rock would have to hard carry. And based on the end of this season, I mean, we don't even know what Rock's fate is right now. And all of this sounds good, but I don't know about y'all, but doesn't all of this seem very convenient? A little too convenient for the Power universe. We're just gonna get all three of these drug dealers working together, making all this money for Snaps and Pop, and it's gonna go without a hitch? I think the hell not. I think there's going to be turmoil in this organization, and I think that Unique is going to pay the price for it. Not only that, but I definitely think that Breeze is going to be the one to take him out. I'm gonna tell y'all why. We learned towards the end of this episode that Unique and the Italian Connect is on rocky footing right now. After what Phil Russo did to Stefano earlier on in this episode, taking him out presumably, Phil Russo tells Unique that Jersey is going to feel the full brunt of what he did. And it's so funny that Phil Russo did this because he's literally doing what he told Unique not to do earlier on in the season. Like, that was the most shocking thing in this episode, seeing Phil Russo do what he did to Stefano. Not to say it wasn't warranted, because Stefano, you talking about you finna snitch? Why did you feel comfortable telling this man that? But nonetheless, Unique's Italian connection is probably cooked going forward. And that's the one thing that Snaps really wanted to use to bring Unique into this whole thing to begin with. His connection with the Italians would serve their organization greatly. Now that he's potentially lost it, what else does he serve to provide to Snaps and Pop? We already know Unique was on the bottom to start the season. He's had to make an elite rise to get to where he is by the end of it. And I kind of feel bad for bro. He did all this work to get to where he is right now, and all of it is slowly but surely slipping away. So Snaps and Pops are already not going to see bro as an asset to their organization. So they're probably not going to want to make ties with him going forward. Because another thing we know about Unique at this point in his life is that he is very reckless. They're not going to want to be attached to somebody like that. Someone they have to worry about every move that he's going to make, especially now with shit going on with the Italians, how they are. And I didn't even get into the worst part about all of this, and that is the Pranessa angle. Now, we know from the events of this last episode that Lou pulled up on Pranessa. My son was watching her for the longest time, and he was finally able to kidnap her with the help of B-Rilla. As I said in my last video, B-Rilla is probably going to be helping Lou moving forward. I'm surprised bro is living to see season 5, if we be honest. But they now have Pranessa and Jerome in their possession, so you already know Unique is going to be crashing out more than he probably has throughout this whole season. Now, if you're Unique, how do you respond to something like this happening to you? Your baby moms and your son just got kidnapped by your biggest op. Best way I can see Unique clapping back now is to use Kanan as some type of collateral to gain that same leverage that the Thomas family now have on him now that they have Pranessa and Jerome in their clutches. We already know Kanan and Unique had a conversation in 409 where they talked about potentially striking up a partnership. Even though from this episode we see Kanan is not really the biggest fan of this idea. I can definitely see a situation where Unique catches Kanan lacking, which leaves the Thomas family with no choice but to retaliate and try to get their boy back. But would they really be so inclined to do so? Now, we don't know if Kanan did shoot Rock in the finale, but obviously that's what the showrunners want us to believe right now. I think they'd have to seriously think about going for Kanan at this point, especially when they have Pranessa and Jerome. They're not trying to look weak, and if Kanan already shot at Rock, they'll probably assume that he chose his side. But we already know whose side Kanan is on now. The side of Breeze, Snaps, and Pop. That's not to say he's turned his back on his family. I mean, he still got love for Lou, Marv, Jukebox. Maybe not so much Jukebox after the events of this episode, but I mean, they still got love for each other. Nonetheless though, Breeze is now on bro's side. And like I said earlier on in this video, he's going to have to work fast to build a reputation for himself. We already know Breeze is this legend in the original Power, but how does he become a legend? I feel like to do that, you gotta take out a big fish on the board. Now, we know Breeze already got his organization in East New York, whatever. We not in East New York. We're in Southside, Jamaica. If you want to make a name for yourself in the Southside, you gotta take out a big dog in the Southside. Which leads me to believe that Breeze is going to find a way to save Kanan. And as a result, he's going to take out Unique, establishing himself as a big dog in the Southside, and leaving him as somebody that Kanan can now trust going forward. Right now, the bond between these two is artificial. It's Snaps and Pops bringing them together. We already know Kanan don't like the fact that Snaps and Pops are trying to take advantage of him because he's a kid. In other words, him and Breeze are going to have to establish their own relationship going forward to be proper partners. I think him taking out Unique, who's not only going to be a threat to him in this situation, but who has been a threat to his whole family in the entirety of season 4, that's going to show him that he can trust Breeze going forward, in my opinion. As I said, I think this is going to happen very early on in the season. I don't see this happening any later than episode 2, maybe even 3 of season 5. We're going to have like 10 episodes in season 5, the last season of Raising Kanan. We gotta have some type of resume for Breeze. We already know about his name, but what actions does he take to build that name further in the Southside? To a point where Kanan can have that respect and trust for him to raise up Tommy and Ghost alongside him. I would be ashamed to see Unique taken out in this way. I think his characters had some of the best development all of season 4, but he's gotta go at some point. There's a reason why Kanan don't talk about Unique the same way they talk about Breeze in the original Power. He was not around. His days are numbered, and I think that this is the perfect season to take him out. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. That's just my quick theory on how I think Breeze is going to cement himself as a force in Raising Kanan, and some of the early actions I see his character taking to do so. Y'all leave your thoughts in the comments on the theory. What do you think about the Breeze introduction? What do you think about the finale episode overall? I'm getting y'all that recap video real soon, so stay tuned for that. How do you think Shameik Moore is going to do in the role as Breeze? Leave all your thoughts in the comments.